local people, local news and events, local sports, local matters. For all things Lloydminster and area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Hey, we want to welcome you into Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster. Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster is your 100% locally owned furniture store with a focus on Canadian-made quality products. Our guests today have been friends for over 50 years. Glenys Reeves-Gibbs, Kelly Sidoryk, and Robin Acton now host the Third Chapter Trio podcast, where they share honest conversations about friendship, life transitions, and navigating the final third of their lives. And they're here to tell us what inspired the podcast, what they've learned along the way, and why these conversations matter. And just before we started, they were also taking a look outside saying, I think this store was here, and we're going to get into that a little bit as well, because this show is all about the best parts of Lloydminster, and these ladies definitely know the best parts of Lloydminster. Welcome to Wellings of Lloydminster, a community of ageless explorers. At Wellings, age is but a number, and adventure is always part of the day. Come experience carefreedom living at Wellings of Lloydminster, where adults 55 plus enjoy a vibrant, stress-free way of life with a whole lot of fun. Stop in and say hello to the new general manager, Nicole, at 7211 72nd Avenue on the Alberta side. I believe the clubhouse is opening this month. You can also visit wellingsoflloydminster.com for more. Wellings of Lloydminster, carefreedom living starts here. One of the next big Christmas events in our community is the Parade of Lights, and that is coming up in downtown Lloydminster on December 18th. It starts at 7, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will warm up. But you should plan to be in downtown Lloydminster on Thursday, December 18th, or better yet, plan to decorate your vehicle and have it in the parade on December 18th. They are short entries so far. I think a lot of people wait and see what the forecast is going to be before they enter, but it would be great to once again see the streets of downtown Lloydminster filled with Christmas lights on the move. Border Paws is celebrating the success of their recent jail and bail, which brought in over $25,000. They're hoping to build on that with their warm weather travel raffle. They have partnered with Lambert Travel, and Chelsea Reeves with Border Paws Animal Shelter told us they are raffling off a $4,000 travel voucher before the end of the year.
So it's also on our website. It is 1 ticket for $25 or 3 tickets for $50. So you get basically an extra ticket for free. And yeah, it's the draw date is December 31st.
Time now to check in on what's happening at the Lloydminster exhibition. Here's your Lloyd X calendar.
There's always something happening at the Lloyd X. This is your Lloyd X calendar.
Another exciting night of Chase the Ace, with jackpot total over $42,000. Make sure to get your tickets so you can be entered into the draw and have your chance at finding the ace.
The 11th Annual Parade of Lights is back December 18th, winding its way through downtown Lloydminster. Join in on this Christmas tradition and register your vote today at www.lloydx.com.
Well, I'm really excited about tomorrow's Cupcakes for Caregivers delivery. I mean, I always get excited, but when I spoke with this person's spouse yesterday about them and what they do and why they do it, I got so pumped up as we get to recognize this person tomorrow. We get very excited about thanking these incredible people. And so when I was on the phone with this person and they were telling me, well, I don't know where she's going to be because on this day she does this, this, and this. And it was all for other people. It was pretty amazing. So Cupcakes for Caregivers will come your way tomorrow. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll be posting on all of our social medias about that. But if you would like to nominate a caregiver, it's really easy. Just send an email to livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. They can receive a dozen delicious cupcakes from Sobeys, but more than that, be recognized for the wonderful work they do taking care of others. And Cupcakes for Caregivers is proudly brought to you by Sobeys Lloydminster and Umbrella Marketing and Design. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have got the Third Chapter Trio podcast cast with us.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back. You help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back. You help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
K&L Electric is proud to serve Lloydminster and area, and they'd like to wish all of their great customers a very safe and Merry Christmas, and they look forward to serving you in the new year.
The holidays are such a great time to reflect, and thanks to the wonderful people in this amazing community, we've had a terrific year.
Thank you, Lloydminster, from all of us at Umbrella Marketing and Design.
We want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I'm Gerald Albers, the Mayor of the City of Lloydminster. As we celebrate this special time of year, it's a great opportunity to look back at what we've achieved together, from the opening of the Synovus Energy Hub to the many new businesses that have joined our community. These milestones demonstrate the steady growth and progress happening across our community. The holidays also invite us to think about our neighbours who may be facing challenges. If you're able, I encourage you to lend a hand and support those in need in so many different ways in our community. On behalf of my family, City Council, and the City of Lloydminster, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a safe and joyful holiday season.
KM Artisan Hot Sauce is made right here in Lloyd, and it would make an incredible stocking stuffer. There's also the ultimate KM GSP, brisket and beef seasoning and rub, and our famous pickle juice. Get them premium hot sauce to go with their premium socks this Christmas. Go to kmartisan.ca and put some heat in your Christmas. BioClean Disaster Services is committed, certified, reliable, and will help you get your life back. 1-833-246-8326. In fact, Robin, sitting right beside me, has needed BioClean Disaster Services, and she was raving about how they managed to work around their family. The family had nowhere else to go. They had to stay there, and BioClean worked around them and did a fantastic job. So we really appreciate Jody Herbus. I call them the local restoration company because you see them everywhere. Their name's on the swimming pool. You see them supporting the sexual assault center. They just supported the big dodgeball tournament. And so they are local, but they're also Lloydminster's largest restoration company. 1-833-246-8326. Well, we are pleased to welcome into Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster, winners of multiple Downtown Business of the Year awards. We are pleased to welcome the cast of the Third Chapter Trio podcast. And we have Glenys Reeves-Gibbs
Right.
joining us. I always get the Reeves and the Gibbs mixed up, so I apologize.
No problem.
That's my dyslexia. And we have Kelly, of course, Kelly Sidoryk, who's been on the show, and you've been on the show before
have
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
But I think Robin Acton is making her first.
It's my
appearance.
debut.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Robin Acton. So this is the cast of the third chapter trio podcast, which I found out about 2 weeks ago. Started listening to a little bit of it, and I think this is going to be a really good show because these three ladies are pillars in our community. And now to do a podcast about the final chapter of their lives is really...
Really? Okay.
Well, I couldn't resist because I tell you why. I've talked to people about your podcast and I say, it's about the final third of their lives. And it sounds a little morbid when I say it like that, about the final third of their lives, because I don't want to accept that I'm getting older, right? But it sounds like, people might hear that. Like two ladies I talked to this morning went, ooh, the final third of your lives. But you guys don't... Do you see it that way?
No.
Do you see the podcast that way?
No. In fact, when we first started doing this, we had the conversation, which we would like to believe that 60 is the new 40. So it's just the thirds are much bigger now because we're all living longer. So.
So how long? I said over 50 years. Did you guys all go to school together?
Yes,
we did.
Which school?
Well, Kelly and I started together in what was Neville Goss in grade 4.
Yes.
And then Robin was at Queen Elizabeth.
I went to Queen Elizabeth.
And so she joined us when there was only one junior high in Lloyd in grade 7. And there was a group of us who hung pretty close together. And we went all through grade 7 right till the end of grade 12. And then some of us all headed off to the U of S together as well.
So you've known each other almost all your lives.
Yes.
Watched each other.
Yes.
Watched each other struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Watched each other celebrate events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's it been like to stay connected for that long?
Well, we actually, one of our podcasts talks about that, like about friendships and what has kept us together as friends. And, I think one of the interesting things that when we talked about at Kirk was that even though we've gone through times in our lives where we haven't spent as much time together, we just always know that those people are there for you. And, you can pick up the phone and call and they'll understand just because they really know who you are, just because we have gone through some pretty good times and some not so great times together.
Do you, over those 50 years, did you make a conscious effort of, this is the day we get together, or this is when we talk, this is how we communicate? Or I'm sure phones have changed a lot of that too.
I think there's a bit of an ebb and flow, don't you?
Yeah, I agree.
We have children that are close in age as well. So when they were doing their friends and when they were doing things together, there was another piece that brought us together. But, there's been times in our lives when we've been closely connected, work projects, and spent a lot of time together, social as well. And then there'd be other life stages where we haven't quite been
as connected. Yeah. Because we're really, the three of us are very different people. We've branched into different kind of careers to some degree. There's some common threads, but our passions are quite different. But, we just are very lucky that we have this kind of friendship that.
Yeah. When it started to snow, you said and Kelly said, oh, this snow is great. You said, you're such a farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do think it's interesting. And I think it's very true. I mean, as young teenagers, when we think back on it, we were each other's safety net, right? And I think I talked about how I remember when we had to go to our first day of high school and we figured out how we were going to meet so we could all walk in the school together, because that was a big deal for us.
High school,
right?
Yeah.
And then, like Kelly says, and there's times, well, I mean, for a while you lived in Calgary, I was in Saskatoon, Robin was here, so like we weren't even, geographically that close. So,
but our kids made a big difference because we had children around the same time, and they're all friends. As a matter of fact, one of our podcasts was with our daughters. That was a lot of fun, high risk moment for all of us. You don't really know what they're going to say. So, but that made a big difference. And now I think when we were looking at this was Glenys's idea. It's always Glenys's idea. And so we said, oh, sure, let's try a podcast. We kind of tried to think about what does it mean to be friends for 50 years. And now we're all in our early 60s.
It takes a certain type of person to do a podcast too. Not everybody is willing to put themselves out there, right? Glenys, what was it about these two ladies that made you think we could do this and connect with people?
Well, I was just really curious about doing a podcast, and about 3 years ago, I'd actually attended a webinar on how to do a podcast, which then even spiked my interest more. So how it started is I said, I think I'm going to do a podcast, and I invited Kelly and Robin to come in to do the first podcast with me. We had so much fun doing it. I said, well, let's just continue doing it, right? So I think it's interesting that Robin says that, because we've talked about this too, because even as kids, we all had our roles. And I tend to be the one that just jumps in with 2 feet. If I've got an idea, I just want to go for it. I just want to run with it. Robin tends to be the one that's like, oh, here we go again. We'll jump in with it. But then then she's like wanting the details. And Kelly sort of smooths us out and says, yeah, we can do this. Like, let's just relax and go with it, right? So, and those roles have not changed for us since we were 12 years old and we first met.
Do you think, I think we take it a little bit for granted, because like we're comfortable and we've known each other for a long time. And then when people remark, like, you guys are still close friends after all that? Well, yeah, like, why wouldn't you be? And maybe is the community size something to do with that?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, physical proximity, but I can go months and not run into you.
Yes,
because we're traveling in different circles. I probably see Glenys more often. But I think what binds us is bit of history, a lot of values. And I mean, despite everything, we've always had a lot of fun together. We always laugh, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty strong connection when you can say that. Yeah.
So Kelly, you do the women's show. You now have the Ag show. You're doing interviews with me all the time. You've done some TV stuff when TV was here. Did you feel like when Glenys approached you, were you like, I've done some of that and I'm pretty confident in it?
No, I didn't think that at all. I thought I've been a guest on a couple of podcasts, and I mean, as many know, talking isn't something that I'm concerned about. But I was curious about like the inner workings of actually, so not just the guest, but actually being part of the core of it. Yeah.
And how about for you, Robin? Like, were you not so sure until after you did that first one? And now how confident are you?
I think we've gotten better at it as we kind of keep going. I mean, my motivation is like, I always have an opinion. And this is an opportunity to share some of those things. And I think a bit about, the third chapter trio was part of, for me, was the motivation was to kind of dispel the idea that it's the final chapter, Kurt. That it is more about kind of not redefining who we are now that we're in our early stage. I don't want to redefine myself. How we manifest might look a little bit different though. And trying to explore that, because we all are in very diverse spaces. So it was kind of fun. That was interesting to me because I always like an opportunity to think and talk and do that.
Who's your audience? Who do you help to reach?
Well, we hadn't even really thought about that. We were just doing it for fun. We didn't really care if anyone listened to us or not. We just like to get together and chat. But when we sort of look at some of the demographics and the comments we get on our Facebook page, I think it's a variety. So, for example, my daughter lives in the UK, and I know that a lot of her friends listen to it, right? Because they want to know more about her crazy mother. And but then we have people our own age. 2 or 3 people have said, hey, we listen to your podcast all the time when we walk, right? And so I think it's mainly women that are listening to it and just really thinking about the stages they're at as well, and how we do, as Rob said, not redefine, but in some ways recreate who we are as we move through those different stages. And I do think it was really important to all of us that the third chapter this is just another chapter in our lives. There's lots left for us, or we hope there is anyways.
You mentioned you're getting better at it. Getting better at defining topics, getting better at communicating.
Not as stilted. The first couple ones we did, I think we were pretty, like, we didn't laugh a lot. We didn't really quib with each other. And now I think we're becoming much more natural at it. Yeah.
Did you think if you could just have the conversations that you normally have when you're having coffee, that would be the premise of the first podcast? Or was there a, you know, we're all at this stage of our lives?
We actually started by calling the podcast Through the Looking Glass. And so it was really around reflecting on how we had got to where we were, what sort of has made us who we are. And then we sort of started looking at it and saying, yeah, no, this is more talking about how we're moving forward versus looking behind.
How do you come up with the topics and what you're going to talk about? Do each of you kind of have an idea and bring it to the table, or?
Yeah, pretty brainstorming, really, right?
Well, Robin wants to be really organized. And so she prints out this big list.
Glenys, on the other hand, does not want to be at all.
So
I'm more Glenys.
Yeah.
So I just come and say, hey, let's talk about this today. And Robin's like, yeah, no, we need to make a list, and then we need to decide what we're going to do. And it's like, okay, we'll feed into that organizational need.
And you do a little bit of both then?
Yeah, we do. We just kind of we kind of try to keep a running list when we think about something. Maybe that would be a good topic.
See, when I started working with Heather, she was like, she's very organized, and she would be like, I need to know what we're talking about before we turn the microphones on. And I would be like, no, I don't want you to know what we're talking about, because then you won't say what comes natural. So then she would say, well, let's rehearse. And then she would say something that really made me laugh. And then when we did it live, she wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
And I would say, I would turn off the mic and go, I was waiting for the line.
Yeah.
Right. Say, well, it didn't feel natural. Well, like that's why I like to, I don't know about you, but that's what I like about spontaneity of kind of the moment. So I try not to talk too much to my guests when they come in, but who do you have on for guests? Like you mentioned your daughters.
They've been our only guests so far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've debated.
Going back to that,
But I think the spontaneity thing
and the free-flowing
we've got, we might say, well, let's talk about this, and then it goes some total different direction, and that's okay. That's how it should be.
So then when we're reviewing them and we're trying to say, okay, well, what was the theme of that one? Because we might have started out with one and move into another. But I think they're getting more, would it be fine-tuned, less general? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
We're getting more succinct because our first ones were quite long. Like the one with our daughters we actually divided it into a few different segments. And now we're pretty much able to keep it with between 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I like natural flow, like, and figuring out where you're kind of going. I listened to the happiness one, the joy and happiness one.
Yeah.
And it kind of went a lot into family.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think if you're talking about joy and happiness and what brings you happiness, probably it is going to go towards family. Has there been a favorite show that you've done so far that you would say, hey, if you're going to listen to our podcast and you want to check us out, maybe it's different for each of you, but which show and why was that your favorite?
It'll be the one with the girls for me.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, take out the one.
Well, now I look like a jerk if I say it wasn't with the one with the girls. This is what they do to me all the time. Set me up for the big slam.
Okay, which was your favorite, Robin? If you couldn't say
like
the one with the girls.
No, I'm just kidding. I think some of the later ones we're getting a little bit better. We're a little bit freer to just say what we're thinking of. You get a little bit braver and you think, well, it's all out there now. Here it goes. I think the one on fears was kind of and defining moments.
Yeah, there's moments actually when we do it that I can feel myself getting emotional because it's bringing up some things that, we hadn't really talked about for a very long period of time. And you think back on it. I think the defining moments one was very, had some really deep thoughts for all of us and maybe things we hadn't shared with each other previously.
But I've had friends say, I didn't know that about you. And I'm like, I've known you for just about the same amount of time. So it's kind of fun to do that stuff.
I think the one with the girls, though, was maybe really telling for us in some ways, because the question we asked them is, when you think back on what did you learn from us as mothers? It was really interesting to hear. I mean, Robin's got 2 daughters, Kelly's got 2 daughters, and I've got 1. So we had 5 of them there. And the things that they talked about, I mean, it was very interesting because I don't think that's a question you ask your kids very often. What'd you actually learn from me as your mother? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When you do stuff like this, you really get to know people, and it's hard to open up. Did you learn anything? Has anything surprised you about the 3 of you? Has there been anything, oh, I didn't know that? Or were you guys, like you mentioned, well, maybe I forgot about that, but was there anything you maybe didn't know?
I don't know if there's anything we didn't know, but in the defining moments, one of the things we talked about is Robin's dad died when we were 18. And I don't think we ever really talked about how that affected all of us at that age. And I think that was maybe something that we never shared with Robin, about how that, she was strongly affected by that, but we were also affected by that too, because we realized that things did change for us very quickly. And at 18, you never think that way. You just think everyone's going to live forever and life's going to be the same forever.
It is amazing how the people that are close to the ones you love and they're, what happens to them affects you so much.
Right.
You don't even realize sometimes in the moment that it's affecting you the way that it is. So all 3 of you are involved in the community in different aspects, but all 3 of you are almost public figures, I would say, putting yourself out there as maybe you're the lead of this. I know, Robin, I always appreciated when you would call me and tell me how much was raised at the breakfast for, and you've done some stuff with, I know you guys have done Pathways, and you came to see me about the luncheons that you guys were doing, the lunch and learns that you were doing. And Kelly, you've been doing, stuff at the exhibition for years, but also through the Women in Ag podcast and the Women's Conference, which is coming up in February. But all 3, like, have each of you been inspired by the other person to?
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even though we don't go down Glenys and I don't go down the athletic sports path that Robin does, but absolutely we've been inspired by each other.
Yeah, I think we often, I gain a lot of energy from these 2. It's like, you're doing what? How did that go? Well, maybe we could try, it's been really, and that's been a lifelong thing.
It has, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And you guys have done some more formal work together, but there is some commonalities there in, like, broad strokes leadership, facilitation, that when we have worked together, it's been really excellent. And I've done some other projects with Glenys as well. So
yeah, we have a lot of fun. And I think the other piece about you talked about community, and we do have an amazing community. And I do think that part of my motivation is I want our community to keep going, to keep progressing, to think deeply about some of these things that make us a community. That to me is a big motivator.
Yeah.
I think for all of us, right? Yeah.
Well, I think that, in one of the podcasts, we talked about it, that all of us, our parents instilled the need to serve your community in some way. And even though we hadn't really thought about it, we all realized that that's sort of what has driven us to move forward. And we all have different skill sets, right? Like, we joke, we found out Robin was competitive. We never knew that until
see, I told you they pick on me. I'm gonna quell my competitive nature right now.
And Kelly's done so many, in lots of ways, sort of worked in a different sector that a lot of women are getting into now, but she was sort of a leader in that way. And we know for me that education's really important. So I'm always going back and doing another degree or something like that. And yet I think we support each other, even though that might not be the other person's passion. We're able to support each other through that, right?
Yeah.
Do you often think about, like, sometimes I have a good friend from high school. I often think, what would he do in this situation? He's like that has influenced me in the way that I think, even though he's wrong most of the time. But
yeah, I sort of feel that way sometimes too. But
but you become a piece of each other. right? Like you wouldn't be the person that you are without their influence.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard on another podcast, Simon Sinek's, he was talking about friendship and the influence. And he used the term, or the author did his guess, about the friends can help you be your editors. So that when you come with a situation and share some of the concerns or whatever, they can help you. And a little bit like a mirror too, which the Looking Glass had some resonated with us as well. And I think that's truly because, we really do trust and value and respect each other's opinions and experience. So that does help us to sometimes navigate through things.
Yeah. How often do you do the podcast?
Well, Robin hasn't got us that organized yet.
It's like herding cats. It is. It's like herding cats. Anyways.
But you're dealing with, you're dealing with people who are so involved in the community.
Yeah. No,
it's hard to pinpoint, right?
We have a hard time. So when
Usually,
we get together, we try to do
more than one at a time. And we've been roughly every month to 6 weeks. We'll try to get together and do a few at once.
We should give a shout out to
Jason
Whiting and Carla Whiting, who've been helping us with the recording. We probably need to send Jason for therapy for a little bit, because he had to sit and listen to us get ready to go on the podcast quite a few times. But he's been fantastic.
Yeah, you're hearing the edited version. Jason has to hear the full story.
Definitely a shout out to him for his time and
Umbrella
expertise.
Marketing too.
And Deanna's great. She came up with our logo and things.
That's how I heard about you. And I actually was shocked that you had a date this year that you guys could do this. So I contacted you. I said, well, let's do it on Thursday, right? Like we could do it right away. Well, there's no way we're all getting together. But when you said, well, I'll come back with a few more dates, I didn't expect this year. I thought maybe into the new year. So it's great to have you guys here even before Christmas.
Yeah.
But and I'm glad you mentioned Jason, because he's been a very helpful to our show as well. He's been a big blessing to us as well. You guys mentioned we have such a great community. That's what this show is all about. So when we take a break, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about why Robin said we have such a good community, and these ladies nodded their head. We're going to find out more about that when we return here at Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster, your 100% locally owned furniture store in Lloydminster with a focus on Canadian quality products.
At Jason Arden Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
It's more than just taxes at L&A CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at L&A CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. L&A CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
The Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce would like to remind you and thank you for shopping local. This wonderful time of year is about giving, and our local businesses are proud to give back to the community through your support. On behalf of myself, the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce, and the businesses we're so proud to represent, have a joyous and safe Christmas.
Noise Photography is celebrating 20 years of capturing your beautiful keepsake Santa photos, and this year the tradition continues in our brand new studio at 3644 51st Avenue, 1 block west of the Co-op Marketplace. Book your Santa session today at noisephotography.com and have a Merry Christmas. Walking on Water is proud to be your toy store. We love seeing those smiling faces and helping you find the perfect gift for under the tree or to fill those stockings. Thank you, Lloydminster, for your amazing support this year. Merry Christmas from Walking on Water Toys in Lloydminster and Wainwright.
Simple Farmer in downtown Lloydminster is a must-stop this Christmas season. With a unique mix of clothing, antiques, organic food, and handmade products, you're sure to find a gift for that special person. Simple Farmer can also customize your gift basket. Locally owned and family operated, Simple Farmer on 50th Avenue, downtown Lloydminster.
It's not just a name, it is Superior Water. Superior Water has 2 locations in Lloydminster, and they're open on Sundays to make filling your big blue jugs a whole lot quicker and easier. And if you want great tasting water right from your tap, call Superior Water and ask about their under the sink reverse osmosis systems. 780-875-6636. I drink Superior Water because after all it is Superior Water. Open on 57th Avenue, Monday to Friday, 8 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 5. And don't forget they have a coin-operated location by 7-Eleven, just off Highway 17 South. Well, we welcome you back into Border City Furniture. We've got a new year coming up. If you would like new furniture for your new year, come see Ryan and Calvin here at Border City Furniture. I've known Calvin for years. He's one of the first people I met when I moved to Lloydminster. We both worked at Bonanza together, and then I remember when Calvin worked here, didn't own the store. And then when he bought the store, I think everybody who worked with Calvin before, I know he worked at Spiro's and stuff, we're just so proud of him to see him doing what, just advancing his life in such a positive way. So it's great to be here with Calvin and Ryan of Border City Furniture. And it's great to have these 3 ladies join us. This is the cast of the 3rd Chapter Trio podcast. We have Glenys Reeves-Gibbs joining us. We have Kelly Sidoryk and Robin Acton are here to not only talk to us about their podcast, but also kind of reflect on the city. And Robin had mentioned this is a great place to live. It's a great community. I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love it here, and I love the people here in Lloydminster. It's what's inspired this show, is to have people on and talk about what they love about the community. And I don't know if you want to tell some of the stories that you told before we went while we were on break. I was like, you should maybe save these stories for your podcast, but now I want them on my podcast. So where do you want to start with those stories? Because those were, let's talk about Rob. No, I want the full story on the one-way streets and the side roads, because you were reflecting, Lloyd was only 10,000 people back then, and
it was only 10,000, around 10,000 when we graduated from high school. So one thing about that is everyone knew everyone.
Not that old, are we? Wasn't it more than 10? It had to have been.
I don't think it was much more than 10. And it was a different time in the regards to, like, you couldn't get away with a lot because someone's parents would see you for sure. I mean, it was way before the day and age of cell phones, but my dad was very strict, had very specific rules, and I always sort of like to push the rules a bit. And so the story that Robin was referring to is that was when Highway 16 had service roads on the side, and we were coming out of service road, and my mother, who was more relaxed about things, knew I was going to go to the school dance with young gentleman who my dad probably wasn't going to be so thrilled about. And she says, you better tell him before the dance. And so I did, just as he was turning on the highway, and he turned the wrong way down the highway and didn't say anything until he got off the highway and turned and said to me, don't ever tell me anything like that when I'm driving again.
What grade was that?
That was junior high.
Junior high school dance.
Yeah, junior high school dance.
Yeah,
Remember those are the big thing, and you always they were just huge, right?
Yeah. Aren't you super glad you grew up when you did, though?
Oh.
Like, I know maybe parents were more strict back. It seems like they were.
On one hand,
they
maybe,
were more strict, but also, I don't know. There's just something about growing up in that. Like, I'm not that much younger than you ladies, so when you're talking about how they have 80s dress up day now, that was when I was in school. That was when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
So I think we grew up in just an awesome time.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Like the only war that happened was in the Middle East.
Right.
right? It was the only one we had to worry about.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
far away, we really didn't have to worry about that. Now you're bombarded with all kinds of different news from everywhere. It makes it sound like it's right next door.
Right.
Yes.
But when you were growing up in Lloydminster, what made it so, you guys, like, did you feel the same way then that you feel now, that it's such a great place, such a great community to live?
I think we really enjoyed it here, but we still, and we were talking about that earlier, 18, ish, we had that desire to spread wings somewhat. And maybe Robin was more connected through her sports, so that was keeping her here a little bit. But the desire, and also from the education point of view, because there was no Lakeland College here then.
Yeah.
So if you were doing post-secondary, you left town.
Unless you wanted to become an admin assistant, then you went to Reeves Business
Of
College.
course, of course, yes, which her family
But
operated for many years.
yeah, no, I think we took it for granted.
I do.
I think we really took it for granted, and I think most teenagers aren't thinking about, oh, is this a great place to live? But we had such a close group of friends, and there was always someone there for you when you needed something. There was always something to do. I mean, even though we didn't have cell phones, we seemed to still be able to communicate about what was going on our Friday and Saturday night and figure out ways to get there. So yeah.
I think everywhere is where you make it. So
100%.
I think there's a community connection here. And I often wonder about, I remember when we were growing up, I mean, and it's been like that because oil has such an impact in this town, the fluctuations. And there were periods of time where it was a little wild on a Friday, Saturday night. I remember my parents being like, okay, where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And, there being some strictness around that. But I also think the reverse of that is it created connections. And we don't have a river running through it. There's nothing aesthetically particularly beautiful about, the city smack dab in the middle of the highway between Edmonton and Saskatoon. You had to make it. You had to make it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's kind of cool about Lloydminster. We've made it, and we've taken what's good and can be enhanced on and made it better.
You guys love to bug each other about the past and past boyfriends and stuff like that. It must be great seeing each other and kind of reflect on,
gosh.
keep those memories so fresh, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wow.
We have a ton of great ones.
I want you to tell me one about
great
Robin and her incident with the car.
Oh,
she should
gosh.
tell
I think
it.
I have to
Yeah.
tell that myself. I'm not
Yeah.
trusting them to tell this. Heaven help me. They'd reveal something. I just was
Reveal something?
Yeah. Well, there is a risk when you know somebody as long as we know each other. I was just saying that, small town, different time, really. And as growing up, I mean, my family, we had one car. Right. And that wasn't unusual. That's how the family got around. And so when you're 16 or 17 and you want to go out and live, I lived out of town. I couldn't walk down the street. I had to drive into town. You'd go out and then, you'd park somewhere you shouldn't have been parked, or you'd be somewhere you probably didn't really want the world to know, but forget about that, because my dad's friends would see him at Coffee Row on Monday morning and tell him, oh, your vehicle was here. And I'd be in, okay, not so good. But my best one was they'd expressly told me not to go to a certain party for, somebody that I was interested in dating. And of course, what did I obey? No. But when did I get in a car accident? Icy roads right in front of that person's house. And I had to phone my parents. So yeah, I'm here. Well, where are you?
Yeah.
What was punishment like back then? What do you remember what your punishment was?
Grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
should
get grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was a really good kid, and they knew that was an exceptional woman.
Yeah. So she was never going to repeat that one.
And she was the one that knew how to tap the phone. So when she came back from a sports event, she would tap and say, Hi, Mom. We got held
Payphone.
up in so-and-so. I'm not going to be home for another couple of hours. We'd head off to the bush party.
Oh, come on. See, this is why you don't have... My mother listens to this. You're in trouble.
And then we'd drive by the sewage lagoons with her coat hung out to get rid of the smoke smells before she got home.
Which they knew. So there's a difference, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm actually thankful it's not like that, but different time. I mean, my kids, I'm sure they would sit here and talk about stunts they pulled too, but for the most part, they couldn't pull some of those stunts. I pretty much knew where they were.
Yeah.
And nowadays, everybody knows where everybody is all the time. But, and I grew up actually living in town until junior high. So Glenys and I had a similar experience there because, I mean, when you left, and we were right across the street from the indoor pool or outdoor pool, sorry. And I mean, when you left in the morning to go find your friends, you know, you might show back up at lunchtime to find something to eat. This would be in the summer when we had a lot of freedom. Like we had so much freedom, you know, by dark, you better have showed back up again. Not quite the same when being in the country, but still, you know, like.
And you'd ride your bike anywhere because I lived over on the Saskatchewan side and the outdoor pool was the place to hang out in the summer. So I'd hop on my bike and I would drive over to the pool and hang out at the pool all day and then get home that evening.
Yeah. And nobody tracked what you did.
But yeah, and just the what we considered complex and challenging, I feel like it's on a whole nother level now.
Absolutely.
I do too. Yeah.
You were kind of reflecting earlier. You were saying, well, that used to be Sandy's News. No, Sandy's News was down further and stuff like that. The city has changed aesthetically for sure. But, you know, you've been here watching it. And I think I tell this story every single show. But when I was going to move up here, my dad said, you're not moving to Lloyd. There's nothing in Lloyd but bars.
Well,
There's no culture. And eventually when I got here, maybe when I got here in 1991, it kind of felt a little bit like that. You know, maybe he was right, but then I feel like things started to change. And now I feel like, you know, we've had so many people on this show, and Kelly, you're one of them, that, you know, if they see something that Lloyd doesn't have, and Robin, you're one of them too, Glenys, you're one of them as well. Now that I think about it, is, oh, the city doesn't have this. Well, let's create it. So you contributed to the culture and the change in that of Lloydminster. Has it been something that you've tried to do consciously or just subconsciously came? This is, you know, I think, you know, because it's contributed to making the city a better place.
I feel like it's more organic.
I agree.
That it just,
wow, it would be better. You know, this could be useful. And even sometimes selfishly, like, well, I'd like to participate in that. I want to be part of that. So let's do it. And then you realize, oh, okay, well, And I mean, even the influence you guys have had over the years with development of different policy in the health field and projects maybe is a better word than policy. But I mean, you have both been quite influential in that space.
I mean, statistically, we know that Lloydminster really has a great entrepreneurship, like sort of, I don't know, culture to it. And I can't remember when I worked at startup. I mean, we looked at the statistics and Lloydminster is really high up there. And so I think that we grew up in a community. And part of that is because of the oil and gas. I mean, there was always changes and things were happening. And so that's just the way it was. But when I think back to even when we were in junior high and high school, we all took on different types of leadership roles in school. Like in grade 12, the big thing was a lot of us wanted to all make sure that we were on the student representative council because we wanted to do some great things. And so you had different houses, you know, and so you had house leaders. I was the head of the yearbook, you know, all those things. And we could tell you a story about Kelly with this one.
Oh, I want to hear it. We want to hear it.
So they had, I don't know what they called it. Was it called Freshie Week or something?
Yeah,
it was
pep rally-ish thing,
And we did what was called a tube steak bake, and that was one of Kelly's roles on SRC, was to make sure that we had the tube steak bake. She did a fantastic job of that, but we had lots of leftover buns at the end of it. And so every week we go into our SRC meeting, and the advisors would say, and Kelly, we're just wondering when you're going to get rid of those old buns. And Kelly say, oh, I'll get it done this week. Well, it was a couple of months in, and we were sitting there waiting for our our teacher advisors to come in, and suddenly they came in, and they had these buns that were quite green tied to a rope, and they were like calling, and they were shooting at them, trying to kill them.
If they were alive.
So I think we did get rid of them after that, Kelly.
Yeah. My kids would say, look in the fridge, some things have not changed.
Yeah, I would have had that all organized and done.
You would, I know, but we weren't on the same house. So you were on Athens, right?
I don't even remember what house I was. I forget half of this stuff. You guys have amazing memory.
I was on the same as her, and the only reason I remember that is because I was highly traumatized. Because every time we had to play a house sport, and I have no coordination at all, she would have to be on the same team as me. And so maybe it's amazing we stayed friends, but I'll never forget this when we played volleyball and she was next to me. She'd get out and she'd literally draw like about a 2-foot square, and she'd say, Glenys, anything that comes in this square you hit. If it doesn't come in this square, don't touch it. And she'd be all over the court.
She's exaggerating.
I am not exaggerating.
You are so. I've embraced my competitive nature.
Yeah, we know.
It's okay.
And it served her extremely well.
Just leave me alone.
Extremely well.
The only layup you ever made was on your own basket. I'm teasing. We all had our own strengths. We all did our own thing.
When you say, like Robin, I love the line that we live in a great community. What is it about Lloyd that's great?
Part of it, I think, is Glenys started about the entrepreneurial nature, but that translates to, I think, if it needs to get done, we figure out how to do it, not sit and wait for somebody else to do it.
It's almost like to build it and they will come.
And part of it, I think, is because of the border.
I was going to say, absolutely.
It's the border has made us. I remember in one of the jobs I held, and a senior person would complain about Lloydminster because we're always griping about something. And my response was, well, if you live in Lloydminster, you better figure out, we got to deal with 2 governments, 2 bureaucracies, plus then, we've had to be our best advocates because, we get played off. One province plays off against the other. And if we weren't good advocates in this community, we wouldn't have half of what we have.
Yeah.
So I think the borders made us to some degree.
Okay, I can't remember who, Faye might remember, but we had somebody on and basically said the same things. Like, you're dealing with Saskatchewan going, can we get this? You're dealing with Alberta, they're going, can we get this? And they're going, well, that's Alberta and that's Saskatchewan should do that. And then you finally go, we'll just do it ourselves.
Right.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And going back to what Glenys was saying with the entrepreneurial spirit, I think that's also been embodied in not only the energy sector, but also the agriculture. Those traits have surfaced in both those industries for sure, and then melding with the primary businesses in Lloydminster.
And I think it's the social sector too. People just, we don't have this, we need this, let's go get it.
Yeah.
Or let's figure out how to create it, or let's do our own version of it. Or
what's been the biggest change? What do you think? Has there been anything in particular that's led to Lloydminster becoming a place where, say, I would move to and go, I like it here, I don't want to leave? Faye and Paul are the same way. They moved here, they got here and they went, this will be a short stop, and then all of a sudden, I don't want to leave. What's changed? Because I don't see it as much as a transient town anymore.
No, I would say that's took down from our high school and post-high school years. One of the things that comes to mind for me is simply growth. When I grew up across the street from the outdoor pool, Alberta Crescent was the last thing out there. It was field beyond that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could go to each edge of the city, other than north has gone less, but has grown less. But all the other areas of the city, there's like a phenomenal phenomenal amount of growth, residential and the amenities. When you think of, so of course the Civic Center was here in the day, and so was the small one by Martin Brown School.
Archie Miller.
Archie Miller. You know, so those were there,
Mhm.
and there was always something at the X, much smaller there.
Right.
But like the other amenities, okay, I already talked about the outdoor pool. There was a theater downtown and
Yeah.
some restaurants, you know. So when you think of even really creative social media with the wish books,
Yes.
postings from Lloydminster, I mean, you just don't even realize how many restaurants and eating establishment and unique businesses there are.
Yeah, there's been lots of growth because it's funny because Kelly says like she lived close to Alberta Crescent and I lived on the other side and Mountains Nursery was next to us. So, I mean, we walked 2 blocks and we were out into the field. And now, I mean, now you go past the hospital and now there's the hub and there's the casino. But I mean, I can remember times as a kid getting stuck in the mud out in Mountains Field because that's what we did. We went and played out there. And even Bar Crescent and things, when I first moved to the Saskatchewan side, none of that existed.
The ball diamonds were out there, though, then when you were, like, that's not elementary school, though. That's junior high.
Yeah,
but
no, we got
thinking of
lighted ball diamond when the junior nationals were here.
Okay. What year was that?
83.
I was just born then.
They were the Legion.
She's able to play ball.
Right. The Legion ballpark.
Yeah,
was always there, but it's changed so much. It's just growth.
Yeah,
that's what's changed. I do agree with you. We're far less of a transient town and a more established core.
Well, I remember times when there was not a hotel room to be found in Lloyd because when things were booming.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one ever rented a house or anything. Then they all lived in the hotels.
Yeah.
It was, and we would really, I think in some ways we growing up probably noticed the booms and busts way differently than what you notice it now. Because when something happened to oil, it was like a ghost town, right? It came with its own issues. I mean, because of my health background, I mean, I remember when I first came back to Lloyd and working in health, and we didn't have enough primary care providers at that point in time. And then oil would boom, and suddenly you would have 2,000 extra people in the community. And where were they going to get health services, and would put pressure on the hospital and, you know, that type of thing. And I mean, I still think there's lots of pressure there, but I think the pressures are for different reasons. It's because there's the growth there. It's not just we've had a whole pile of people come in and they're going to be here for a few months and then they're going to leave again.
And I think the other piece that I think needs to be acknowledged is that the ag sector has added such a stability and in its own right has diversified and grown and gotten stronger. And we're really lucky that they've been that stabilizing force often when, you know, the energy sector's up and down. No. So I always think it's really important to acknowledge that oil isn't just, Lloydminster isn't just an oil town.
Yeah. And I don't know if foundation is the right word, because not to minimize the energy sector, but yeah, there was kind of the ag was the base.
It always has been. Yeah.
Yeah, but then, you know, with the energy sector and some of their ups and downs, some great wealth came to this area that supported a lot of infrastructure that wouldn't have happened if we had honestly just purely been a agriculture community.
Well, a good example is when I was working at Lakeland as the campus health nurse and the campus was being built. I graduated from high school when I was 10. There was no plans to do a residence, and that's when the upgrader was being built.
That's right.
And so there was that collaboration between Lakeland and Husky at that point in time, and they built that for a place for the workers to live, and then it got turned over to the college. So that's just an example of how the energy sector really brought that infrastructure to Lloyd, because that changed what it was like to be able to go to college in Lloyd because there were residences, there was a place to live.
And some of this is hindsight, recognizing as we've gotten older and looking back, but you know, the interesting collaboration, I mean, with the upgrader and then the ethanol plant, you know, there's a direct link between the two sectors.
Yeah, and many people that work in oil they grew up on the farm.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
And they manage things the way they would a farm, basically.
Mhm.
But I think it was Ken Baker. It might have been, I know our current mayor has said too, no matter what oil does, agriculture is always here. Like,
Yeah,
thank goodness we always have
absolutely.
agriculture to fall back on.
Mhm.
It supported us through good times and bad times.
Mhm.
And we're lucky to have that.
Well, my grandfather came in 1903, about 6 months after the Bark colonists, and the reason he came was because he could get land and he could farm.
Mhm.
So very much that's where we started, right?
And good land.
Yes, really good,
Yeah.
actually. Yes.
Yeah, I've been told it's some of the best, like
Mhm.
it's some of the best, not only in Saskatchewan and Alberta, but some of the best in the world
Mhm.
is right here. When we started doing the show at Border City Furniture, we said we need one question to make sure we have something to talk about. We should have one consistent question that we ask our guests, and that is about events in our community. I attend so many events. There's so many events that I absolutely love, that I really enjoy going to. And I like asking our guests, is there one particular that is your favorite, that you love, that you're proud of, that is in Lloydminster that you wouldn't want to miss?
That's a hard question.
Start with Robin, because
Oh, sure.
yeah, because we haven't started with you ever.
No,
Yeah.
I'm always last.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there's lots of events that I think we should be really proud of in our community. I have to, because I'm so involved in disability advocacy and Inclusion Lloydminster's annual breakfast. I just think it's amazing in terms of how our community shows up for that. I know similar events happen in Edmonton and Calgary's yet to produce a bigger breakfast
Wow.
than we do, right? And so it just, again, it kind of speaks to, then the only reason that happens is because people gather. We like to gather. So that's a big one for me. And there's lots of others.
And that event, Robin, is not just only about the money either, but it starts out with breakfast, but it sticks with you
Yeah.
for a long time, particularly the rest of the day. It sticks with you. Like that event sticks with you. It just, it's there in your back of your mind. It's not like, you get up and you go to work every day and it's the same thing, maybe over and over again, or something happens. That event, when you're doing something, it's just that it leaves such an impression.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's about kind of Lloydminster in one way, because it's about belonging.
Yeah.
And the human need to belong.
Yeah. I know Heather and I are always like, well, hopefully you got Kleenex, because you'll need it.
Yeah.
Right. Kelly, for
Oh,
you?
I have a few.
You can
and that's
plug
not-
your own
yes,
event too.
Yes, yes, which the Inspiring Women's Conference, which we're hosting on February 6th. And you know what? It's our 15th.
That's hard to
Which
believe.
is that, and it's just an example of you start something, it's like, holy man. And the Women in Ag conference that we held for the second time in November. I think one of my many of them are, of course, exhibition centered for quite obvious reasons. But the Harvest Festival, the local food event where we bring, the urban and the rural together and source local. And I mean, that's a premise for their business. And I think that we're such a great community to be able to do that. So that's one of my
How many years
favorites.
for that now?
Oh, it's going to be 15 or more now that I think about it, because the first Harvest Festival was right around the same time as the Inspiring Women's Conference.
I remember that first event, and it was in the smaller room.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It was such a sense of community and everything. And when you left, and I still feel this way when I leave that event, is you just leave with a great amount of pride going, that was awesome. I love that. It's when I've done it every year. I've been one of the dummy chefs.
Celebrity
chefs.
Celebrity chef. Actually.
But I was the dumb guy chicken the first year, so it's
year.
kind of stuck with me.
And that actually, in the timeline, was the first event held in the new Prairie Rooms.
Yes.
So they've been there a little longer than we think.
Yeah.
Too. Oh, yes, of course, because that's when the expansion happened in
At the X,
Yeah, what a great event.
2010-ish, right?
And I think we were asked late this year to do it, and it was like, they're going to ask, right? Like, like, should we buy tickets? Like, what do we do? Because they always ask. Glenys, what's one event that you absolutely love in our
That's
community?
hard for me. I mean, I think I've attended some of Kelly's events, and the breakfast, of course, is near and dear to my heart too, because my dad was one of the first people to be involved in the inclusion movement in Lloydminster. But I think I'm going to take a little bit different, and I'm going to say not one event, but I think we have a lot more opportunities for some cultural events. So I think back to when I was in school, I mean, really the music festival was a big deal. And I mean, I competed every year in it, but now.
She wasn't competitive though.
No, I wasn't competitive. Not like Robin. But I don't go enough, but like the Vic Juba brings in some fantastic shows, and even the casino. I mean, they are doing some great things, and I just think there's so much more variety of things people can do from an event standpoint. I mean, the Health Foundation Gala, I shared that
one
for years, and I remember when it first started, and I mean, it's still a great event, but I do think that we don't need to go to a big gala or do anything like that. We can get tickets to do something at the Vic Juba. We can go to something at the casino, and you still can go to the music festival, and there's great entertainment there
Watch
too.
some more little children being traumatized.
The Vic, I think, has really influenced. Like when I say about my dad saying there's nothing there in Lloyd. Well, it was, 2001, I think, that the Vic opened up, and it created
it certainly did.
And it brings some different people into Lloydminster.
Oh, for sure.
People travel from all around.
Yeah.
In fact, Delia yesterday was telling us off camera, she said, these two gentlemen came into my store, and they just didn't look like they were from Lloyd. It looked a little different. And I said, oh, what do you guys, like, what do you do? And they said, well, we're musicians. And our brothers are musicians too, and we're playing at a location here in Lloyd. Like, oh, where are you playing? Well, we're playing. You know, we got a job tonight. We're not saying. It wasn't until after they left she realized they were the Hunter brothers.
Oh,
that's why I recognize
them.
Those gentlemen. Like, oh yeah, we play in a family band. We're traveling around. Like,
great
way to put it, right? But
Yeah.
it's brought so much recognition to our city as well.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
When's the next third chapter trio podcast?
Well, we just did 3 a couple of weeks ago, so we're just waiting for the edits, and then we will get those. We sort of try. Well, we've got to get better organized with that. Glenys thinks, oh, we haven't done a podcast for a while, and she pops one up. So we did one that sort of talks about traditions. We hope to put that one up just before Christmas because we know that that's a time of great tradition, and we're going to actually I can't even believe the time we're going to record on Friday morning. We're going to call it the breakfast sessions because Robin's got us there at 7:30 in the morning.
Robin, it was like that. I hate mornings. Hate them. I'll be very quiet on that one. But yes, we're doing it because we're going to have a hard time scheduling January, February. So But
if Robin hasn't had coffee, you don't want to be around her. Yeah.
I don't want to be around me without coffee.
So we're glad Calvin and Ryan had some on
Honestly,
here at Border City Furniture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you might have got hit over the head when you said the final chapter.
Yeah.
I just thought I had to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all three, not only for being on our program, but the way you've contributed to our city as well and making it a better place to live. It's the PROspectives because it's a pro to live here. I really feel it's a blessing to call Lloydminster home. So thank you all for making it a better place to live.
Well, thank you for having us.
Sure.
It was fun.
Excellent.
We're back with you tomorrow, and Richard Starkey will be on the program. We'll also hear from the Lloydminster Kinsmen about their Christmas tree lot and how they use the money to further advance our community as well. That's tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. We'll be back at the new Lloydminster Nissan.